between his thumb and forefinger, waving it back and forth as though the cloth might actually dry out despite the oppressive humidity.
You don't even know what happened to her yet.
Has he got any ideas about how long the woman's been dead? The cigar smoke filtered up through my nostrils, overwhelming the pungent odor of death.
Bug juice, Madam Prosecutor. The good Dr. Mogorsky likes to bring this whole thing down to when he figures the flies laid the maggots, which finished feasting and then sat on the floorboards and pupated. He's picking up the pupal cases to take to his lab. It's a slow process,
Mike said, dismissing the expert with a flip of his hand. The forensic entomologist had been called to the scene by the young medical examiner who first responded to the detective's notification. I had watched Mogorsky work several other cases, clipping a pair of lenses that looked like tiny microscopes over his thick eyeglasses while he scoured the body and its surroundings for signs of insect life, with its predictable cycles that might help establish a time of death. I understand, but do you think he's useful?
I want you to keep puffing on that thing till you turn a pale shade of green.
I feel like I'm coming up on chartreuse, I said, brushing wisps of damp hair off my forehead with the back of my hand.
Personally, I think he's a waste of resources. Is she dead more than a week? Yeah. Less than 2? My money's on that. The only reason everybody south of 42nd Street didn't notice the odor is because this place is so isolated, except for the decaying fish remains and sewage right below where she was found.
That's still a pretty big window of opportunity.
Once we ID the broad, it won't take long for some joker to tell us the last time she showed up at work, or a girlfriend to say what domestic tiff sped her out the door of her apartment. Stick with real detective work, kid. I never met a bug with a gold shield.
I had seen more than my share of bodies as the prosecutor in charge of the Sex Crimes Prosecution Unit in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for the last decade. The black humor of many cops and colleagues, an effort to diffuse these ugly situations, did nothing to ease my revulsion. "Hey, Chapman!" a rookie in uniform called out to Mike from the porch of the old ferry slip. "They're bringing her out now. You and Miss Cooper can come back up." On the roadway opposite the aging terminal, the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Drive sank below ground to loop under the battery and re-emerge as the West Side Highway. The far side of the tunnel entrance, dozens of glass and steel office towers, many of their windows still lit, formed the dense, narrow canyons of the city's financial district.
"Sorry to drag you down here. I really thought it might be your girl,"
Mike said. He knew I had been assigned to an unsolved case involving a young woman who'd gone missing the week before. We watched as the ME's van backed into the loading dock and the attendant opened the rear doors, ready to receive the body bag.
"Looked like a good possibility till the wig came off, and we realized her hair wasn't red," he went on.
Mike was a second-grade detective assigned to the Manhattan North Homicide Squad. His usual turf stretched from north of 59th Street, uptown through the Harlems and the Heights, to the narrow waterway that separated the island from the Bronx. At the end of summer, despite the spike in murders that usually accompanied a dramatic rise in the temperature, was also the time many cops took their vacation. The two squads, now short of manpower in late August, combined forces to respond to every murder in Manhattan. We stopped talking when 4 men, one from the medical examiner's office and 3 uniformed officers from the 1st Precinct, emerged from the dark mouth of the building with their charge. There were no other spectators, no need for them to walk as though they were pallbearers struggling to balance the coffin. The foursome loped along with the body, heaving it onto the stretcher inside the van, jerking it from side to side to position it before they strapped it into place for the ride up the drive to the morgue.
"None of these ologists can help with the more important questions,"
Mike said, as the driver slammed the double doors. He wiped the sweat from his forehead with his handkerchief, then passed it to me.
"Who the hell is she? What brought her to this godforsaken place? Why hasn't anybody noticed she was out of commission before tonight? What kind of monster am I looking for? I can't even think straight, it's so hot."
No other